Broadcasting live from a retard French nerd's basement, it's Benzai's Top 5.
Thank you. I love you too. Greetings and welcome to Benzai's Top 5. A show that's about 15 episodes long, yet only one out of them is a real Top 5. And today's episode won't be no exception, as we're going for a Top 2. Why I fucking hate Zelda Twilight Princess. Oh my fucking god, this game. It's actually gonna be a pretty laid back Top 5, so sit back and enjoy while I rant about this. I wouldn't dare to say piece of crap, but I actually can't, because the game is decent for an action game, and if it wasn't for the fact that the Zelda franchise was basically its own genre with no real emulators apart from Darksiders very recently, if it wasn't for that fact, this game would be a piece of crap and a generic and full of generic bullshit. Let's see what it says on the back cover. The biggest Zelda adventure of all time. Shake the Wiimote and the nunchuck to wield your sword and shield. Oh, but everything's fine because on the Wii we can play widescreen. Fantastic innovation. You could be like, well, this is an improvement over the GameCube version, but how about Star Fox Adventure? You could play widescreen on that one, so why not on this? Oh wait, I'm not even started yet. Let's go right away to number 2. Very poor game and level design choices. Okay, I got a bunch of things to say about this one. I'm not really sure how to classify them, so let's just throw them out. I really have a problem with stuff like, I don't know, the fucking skateboard? A fucking skateboard in Zelda? And let's see how many times we have to use it. Oh, we use it like 3 times. Only 3 times within the whole game do you really have to have this item at the ready. Otherwise it's completely useless. And it looks absolutely stupid. Besides, it makes no fucking sense. Well, remember when you were in the Sky Temple and you were like, oh my god, I really wonder what's gonna be the next item I pick up. It's the Sky Temple. And I've seen a bunch of shit I really can't access. I really hope there's like a sky suit or like winged boot so I can somehow fly or even glide through the air. That'd be cool, right? What do I get? A double grappling hook? Are you fucking kidding me? A double grappling hook? How fucking lazy! You've played for hours upon hours to finally get your super uber item in the Sky Temple. And it's a double grappling hook? What does that mean? That the Sky people needed that item and it was a legendary item to them to have a double grappling hook even though these guys can fly? By the way, I'll get back on the Sky people later. So far we have 2 items that are total bullshit, but let's see what else we got. How about the best fucking armor in the whole game? You know the one I mean, the one that's actually very tedious to get. It costs a bundle, and it actually costs you as you wear it. And once you're out of rupees, it's a fucking useless piece of crap. You can't even move with it, you can barely roll with it, and if anything, the game is so freaking easy that you don't even need this armor. It's not doing anything spectacular. You know what was a good, like, completionist item in a Zelda game? The fucking best mask in Majora's Mask. That was really rewarding because you were fucking invincible. And this one feels like such a ripoff. So that's the 3rd useless fucking bullshit item I can think of. You know guys, when I was mentioning flaws in the level design, I was really thinking hard about the fact that certain items you need to have at all time. At all time. They're useful in every single dungeon. To the point it's really redundant. Whereas some item you use once, maybe twice, or you just use in the dungeon you're in, and then you can put that in your bag and you'll never use it ever again. Let's think of an example. Oh, how about the fucking iron boots? You know the one that uses magnetism, so you can magnetize your ass on the roof? These are pretty handy, and you actually use them fucking everywhere. Like really, in Hyrule, in the dungeons, in the temples. And where do we pick up this item again? Oh, a fucking neighbor gives it to you. It's the most useful item in the whole game, and the fucking neighbors give it to you. Wow. But how about the boomerang? The boomerang that does a tornado, you know, was pretty cool, right? Do we use it at all after the first dungeon? Maybe once or twice? There's actually other examples, but overall the whole experience feels pretty rushed and, I don't know, unimaginative, because they bring items in there just so you have something to look forward to when you go to a new dungeon, but there's no payoff to this item, there's no rewarding way to use it afterwards. You just use it like a couple of times and you should be happy with it. Granted, you had some items like that in the first Zelda games, like, I don't know, the raft, for example, it's only useful once. But I don't know, it opened a new area and it was like, in 1987. Oh, what else is bullshit in a game design? Oh, I know. How about the fact that when you are a wolf, it doesn't play really different. Almost not at all. Actually, turning into a wolf allows you to growl or owl, so you can do songs like in Ocarina of Time, because that's what you liked in Ocarina of Time for most of you guys. But here, it was nothing like Ocarina of Time, it was more like Guitar Hero. You had a pre-rendered pattern that you had to follow and this would be your song, but you couldn't just pop a song out of your ass and it would do something. There was a sandbox aspect to the songs, so you could use them as you please, whereas in this Zelda game, you pick up a leaf that's a certain shape and it does the song basically for you. And it's kind of like the same thing for the wolf. So why put music at all? Oh, I know, it's to please the Ocarina fans. So people feel like they're playing Ocarina of Time again, even though they're really not. But they've been really lazy. Instead of bringing new ideas, they just brought half-baked ones from a previous one that were made better in a game from 1998, in a game that comes out in 2006. I can't really blame Nintendo because you guys are probably playing Ocarina of Time right now on the 3DS, right? Oh, one minor thing, by the way, how about the combat dynamic? It was so awesome in Wind Waker when it would do songs as you were fighting, and it would do all sorts of notes, and it was very subtle, but it really supported the combat. Well, this ID, that was fucking brilliant, they got rid of it in Twilight Princess. Well, and I'm not even mentioning the big fuck you that the Wii version is, because most of you guys, and I'm a part of it, bought a new system to play Zelda in a supposedly whole new way. And the GameCube version was supposed to be the half-baked version, and this was supposed to be the true version of Twilight Princess. Turns out the GameCube version is actually better. Nintendo actually made me feel ripped off from buying a new Nintendo console with a new Zelda game? That has to be written somewhere in the Guinness Book of World Records. Do you remember some of the early presentation for the game? Oh, now you have the sword in one hand and the shield in another hand, and you're like, yeah, I'm fucking Link, lol! And in the end, you are just basically playing the game like that, jerking off. Fucking awesome. And nowadays, let's see how Zelda Skyward Sword is advertised. Now that we have an add-on so the Wii mode is finally functional, you can pretend you have a sword in one hand and a shield in another hand, and lol, you're Link! And you know what? I'm actually gonna fall for that and buy Skyward Sword the day it comes out. But I'll keep an ounce of suspicion that it will be bullshit. Actually, if you look back, the only thing that's done right with the motion sensors of the Wii for Zelda Twilight Princess is the fishing minigame that's absolutely useless. It's time for number 1. The story and the world presented in this Zelda. It's the fucking worst. And not only it's the worst, it's ripping off its own ass. First of all, let's mention the absolute zero risk regarding the art direction. Well, Wind Waker had the balls to actually come out with a brand new look for a Zelda game, even though that style came back in 3 portable games. But I mean this one? Wow! It looks absolutely like Zelda Ocarina of Time. Sure, the textures are better, but it's almost 10 years later, and the problem I have with this game is that it looks very dated. It looks like an average GameCube game. I mean, Star Fox Adventure looks a lot better. Shaders, textures, you name it, fur shading, whatever. And something that really feels like Ocarina of Time is that the ground textures are just the shitty textures stretched to death. What was amazing with Wind Waker is that the cel shading got rid of that impression, and that's why Wind Waker hasn't aged at all, and still looks amazing on an HD TV. But fucking Twilight Princess? let's just say it looks bad. But not only that, what they tried to deliver with that one is basically the game people kind of wanted to play after the Ganondorf vs. Link E3 demo. But did you really want to play that one? Well, at least you got a game with the same art direction, which is not a new art direction instead of Ocarina of Time if they had more horsepower to it. And so you're in front of this game that looks so freaking familiar. You could say, oh, of course it's freaking Zelda, but no, it's not just freaking Zelda, it's fucking Zelda Ocarina of Time. It's the same fucking art direction. The lighting, the character design, everything looks very similar. Didn't you think that it was a nice touch in Wind Waker that the races that you knew in Ocarina of Time actually evolved in other races because the world had changed? Well, here in Twilight Princess, they just bring the races from Ocarina of Time back. Because a lot of people snubbed fucking Wind Waker because it looked childish. But it looked different. At least it didn't look like a remake. But I'm rambling, and there's plenty of other stuff to complain about in this game. How about these new characters they tried to bring back? You know their names, like the guys that are in the Resistance. You know the ones I mean. No, you fucking don't. They're fucking forgettable as shit. Nobody cares about them. They have like 3 lines of dialogues, and when they come back to save the day kinda in the last dungeon, you had totally forgotten about these guys. Because they're fucking useless, and it's not so much their design is generic as much as it's ugly, but that's my opinion. But it's really that there is no momentum or sense of tension with these guys. You just don't give a crap. You know what? Maybe I don't give a crap because the Resistance is composed of 3 guys. Well, that doesn't sound like a lot, but you gotta understand that we are in a next-gen Zelda experience where Hyrule is still the fucking same with less than 100 NPCs around here. Actually, I shouldn't say 100, I think there's less than 50 even. Not to mention the fact that the map is just an emulation of the one in Zelda Ocarina of Time. Again, you start off in the south, the capital of Hyrule is in the north, you have this huge Hyrule field with nothing on it. On one of the sides you have a volcano with fucking Gorons. Some people would be like, oh, but it's a nice throwback. It would be a throwback if Ocarina of Time hadn't been repackaged to death. Especially with Wind Waker. Oh, and how about that? Even though these are minor complaints, I admit, but how about when you have to follow a smell as a dog, and you know there's this big blizzard in the mountain, but you have to just follow the smell, and it goes like that, sideways all the time, zigzagging. And then you remove the fog, and what do you find out? This was just a fucking flat as hell place. Didn't you feel like, well, that's bullshit, because why would a Yeti when he took the salmon? Was he drunk or something? But how about the fact that his house is a dungeon? What if Yeti wants to take a piss? What if the Yeti wants to check the fridge? To check if there's any beer left? That reminded me of Dr. Wily trying to take a piss in his own fucking dungeon. It's like fucking impossible because it's just death pit everywhere. Well, here it's about the same. It makes no freaking sense. Especially the fact that there are so many soldiers in that fucking one. Well, at least it was an addition compared to Ocarina of Time, thank you for that one, but that still is the freaking Bigfoot. It's not good. It's not a welcome addition. I mean, when you feel like the biggest Zelda game yet is the first one on the NES, especially if you count the second quest, then you know something ought to change. But by far, the biggest disappointment for me with this game was the Sky People. Throughout the game, you keep on meeting this weird poultry, human, deformed thing that's undescribable, yet you can tell it's definitely ugly as fuck. It's like Seaman on the Dreamcast if it was a chicken. And yet you keep hearing about these Sky People that had a Sky Temple with a magic item that you could definitely use. Well, not only this magic item was the fucking grappling hook, then you know, how about just replicating the one you have at the local store? Well, not only that, but you discover that the Sky People are this ugly chicken. I was so ready and excited about seeing a whole new race that I had never seen before in a Zelda game. Well, I kinda did. But I kept on thinking, wait. Is this really the character design they came up with right away for the sky people? A chicken with a human face that's all brownish and looking disgusting and stupid? And how the fuck did this guy build a fucking temple in the sky? And why did he keep this double grappling hook thing? This actually got me to give up on the story altogether. Maybe that's why I don't give a crap about the Resistance guy, but I really can't name them on top of my head. But again, the story in this Zelda game is nothing compelling. I know the story tends to always be the same, like, you have Zelda, she's kidnapped, blah blah blah. But in this one, the universe they're trying to create with Midna and the legend, it's not all that believable, it's not all that involving. Wind Waker was almost the end of a trilogy if you take into account the fact that Ocarina of Time at a certain timeline that's definitely connected to Majora's Mask, and this universe is definitely connected to Wind Waker. Whereas in this one, Twilight Princess is a completely different thing. And I know there shouldn't be a real timeline between the Zelda games, but at least with these 3 games I mentioned, there definitely is. And what do you get for Twilight Princess? Something that you can actually not link with anything. Whereas after 3 games totally linked, you kind of could expect something to feed you, like even just a hint. But you know what? I was ready to get a hint at the end of the game. When I saw my sword right through Ganon's skull, I knew I was not gonna get shit. I'm just outright murdering the guy. It's not like, oh, he's disappearing and maybe his spirit is still there. No, the guy's fucking dead. And by the way, I love the fucking temple in which you battle Ganon at first, and then they teleport you in this weird-ass area that's just flat as hell. So there's no landscapes at all for a final battle. It's weird. And at the end of it, for I think no reason, or at least a bullshit reason, Midna fucking destroys the mirror. Whereas, I don't know, like, there's no danger left. Everything felt so over-dramatic. And when Zelda shows up at the end, you don't fucking give a crap because you've met her like once. Again, a huge difference with Wind Waker where Zelda fucking kicks ass. Or at least her reincarnation. And finally, I guess I should have included that in the game design. The game is pretty short. Of course, the first time I was like just wandering around, but when you actually want to get the game done, it's done in less than 12 hours. If you follow the streamline, and why wouldn't you? Because the game is easy as fuck, so you have no use for the extra hearts. And the most difficult item to get, the fucking armor, is fucking useless anyway. So you have no reason to wander around anymore. You know that you just go through the dungeons. And they would get you through the game in less than 12 hours. And I didn't mention how they increased the length of the game artificially by making you uncover whole chunks of Hyrule as the wolf, then going back to the same exact location and do the same exact thing as Link. So much so that you end up feeling like you did the game twice, yet it still feels short. Go through that terrible forest level with the puppets attacking you and tell me I'm wrong on that one. Is this longer than the others? Probably not, but since this game was not feeling any different from the others, especially when you have like a water temple again, and fucking bosses that once you know the pattern like are destroyed in a matter of seconds. It's not even about minutes, it's seconds in this game. Well, you realize that, wait, it actually takes longer to beat Duke Nukem than Zelda Twilight Princess? Really? But it's a fucking Zelda game. Going back to the whole, this felt really like an unofficial remake of Ocarina of Time to me thing, because that's definitely what people asked for after Wind Waker. They were like, we want dark and adult Link. Why isn't Link an adult? I want Link to be an adult. When really, a lot of people praise A Link to the Past, but look closely guys. Link is a pink-haired kid. His hair is pink. So why complain about the fact that Link isn't an adult when his hair were pink in the fucking SNES episode. And in the end, you get a game that actually feels a lot like Ocarina of Time meets Lord of the Rings, a little bit in character design, especially with the fucking orcs. I mean, how about the moblins from Zelda? They were cool and kind of original, at least they were not straight out orcs from any heroic fantasy game. Again, when they add something, it's absolutely unoriginal. The Yeti, orcs, sky people, but the Ocarina of Time fans, I mean some of them, the raging fans, hardcore fans of this game and of no other Zelda games, they got their voice heard because Nintendo served them their unofficial remake, yet the experience was kind of underwhelming. To me, it really felt like a waste of potential, as if raging fans had dictated Nintendo's behavior on the next Zelda game, had dictated the direction to take. And that's the worst fucking thing that can happen to a game. To take it away from its creators and to tell them how to do it. You've seen the movie Misery? That's basically what happened with Twilight Princess. But why am I explaining that? Obviously Nintendo understood that better than anyone because they're flat out selling you Ocarina of Time again for a 3DS for 40 or 50 euros. And when they want to show you a Zelda tech demo for the new system, they make sure that the art direction is the exact same. That's like telling people they just gave up on renewing the franchise. It's like, fuck it. We'll give you a rehash of Ocarina of Time for the next 10 years, guys. So people, don't be surprised if people like Spoony bitch about the Zelda franchise. It's not so much because of Nintendo's politic, it's really because of the fans themselves. Certain fans. They are the real reason why the series is so stale, and Nintendo sadly listened. But I'm getting off topic there. Twilight Princess was a step backward in the franchise, and the only thing that saved it was that Zelda is its own genre, as I said. Therefore, a new Zelda game is always a welcome addition to your library. I'm aware this is a rather messy top 5. And you know what? I'm not burned on the Zelda franchise altogether. I'm definitely buying Zelda Skyward Sword, and I'm probably even gonna pre-order it. But I sadly won't be surprised if the latest item you get in the latest dungeon in the game is a double boomerang.